Shalom. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how absolutely amazing Abba Yahuah is. And the day that I had yesterday. Yesterday was June 29th. And like I said, I just want to talk to you about how amazing he is. Because, so if you go back and you watch my video, The Privilege of Persecution, you'll be caught up to basically what it is I'm talking about today. So two of the stipulations for the probation that I was put on, one was the anger management class that I told you guys about, which, by the way, that class was phenomenal. I wish I had been able to find it under different circumstances, because I still would have probably paid and taken it because it was amazing. But it is what it is, you know. However, I said all that to say that I see how Abba Yahuah is literally using the special circumstances of my probation to make things work out for my good. So the first thing is, with that anger management class, you know, you have to pay for it out of your own pocket. And I was like, I wasn't worried, but I was like, you know, I don't know where I'm going to get this money from, because I had just transitioned from another job to the other job. And, you know, anybody that stops a job and goes to another job, even if you put the 2 weeks notice in, which I did, and you transition and the transition is smooth, everybody knows that your money be looking a little funny for a minute. I wasn't worried about it, but I just prayed, and I was like, you know, you're going to have to take care of this. So that's when Ruach HaKodesh was like, well, you remember that money I told you to put in your savings account and forget about it? You did an excellent job of forgetting about it. So when I looked into my account, no, it wasn't the full amount, but I think I was like less $25. So instead of paying the full amount for the class, I just paid $25 because I already had technically I paid for the whole thing, but y'all get what I'm saying. I only had to come $25 out of the money that I knew I had, because I had, you know, the rest of the money in my savings account. So that's the first and foremost. Then I had to go through hell and high water to get my disposition paperwork. The public defender, he was very curt and condescending towards me when I had contacted him after the case to try to figure out, you know, how I get the paperwork and everything. And I had to remind him, I don't live in that state, so you're telling me to do things and I'm not there. So then all of a sudden his tone changed, and I was like, yeah. So my mom actually assisted me in that, hallelujah, that I have parents that are. So because I didn't know anything about, you know, when I was supposed to go to probation or anything, I had 30 days to complete to complete my first day of probation, the anger management class, so on and so forth. So I looked on the calendar for this week, the schedule for this week, and I was going to be off on the 1st, and I was like, that's kind of too close. So I asked my manager to switch it to another day of the week. So she switched it to yesterday, which was Wednesday. So hear me out. I want you guys to see how the enemy is still attacking, okay? But how Abba Yahuah already had things set up in place. So I get there. I was off yesterday. I drove to the state so I could go to probation and, you know, get that over with. And when I walked into the probation office, my mom had my son. When I walked into the probation office, there's nobody in there, like, waiting. And the receptionist was like, may I help you? And I was just like, there's nobody in there. She said, yeah, we don't see people on Wednesdays. And I was like, ha! So I explained to her about, you know, me coming from out of town. She was like, well, what's your name? She told me who my probation officer was. There was a piece of paper on the wall that had her number and her email address. So in the course of this conversation, she goes, well, let me go back there, because the probation officers were there. They were just in a Zoom meeting. So she goes, well, let me go back here and see if she's going to be here later on. So if you call her, she can give you a call back. So she told me to sit down. She went back there. She talked to her. She came back out. She was like, yes, she'll be here, so you can give her a call. So when I told her thank you, because the woman really, she went above and beyond for no reason. I was very polite and courteous, and, you know, I didn't go in there with no attitude or whatnot, but at no point in time did I ask her to do any of this stuff. So that's how I know that Abba Yahuah had placed that on her heart to do this. Right as I turned to leave, she says, wait. And I can't for the life of me remember what question she asked me, but I do remember saying, well, I'm not from, I don't live here. I live in a different state. She said, hold on one second. She goes back to the back. She talks to the probation officer. She comes back. She's like, she's going to see you today. So I'm like, okay, cool. I get back there. I get put on a mail-in, so I do not have to return physically to this location in order to complete my probation. But let me tell you how the enemy had attempted to get me messed up in the game. For whatever reason, the public defender, well, we know the reason, B system. Public defender did not put my phone number on the contact sheet for my probation officer, which, mind you, me and him have texted back and forth on that number multiple times, and he has called me on that number multiple times. In my video for the privilege of persecution, I told you that the only way I knew I had court is because he called me. And remember, even with that, I never received any letter or any notification that I had a court date. So if he hadn't called me, I would never have known I had court. Well, just like when you fail to appear at court, if you fail to appear at probation, that is considered an FTA as well, and they issue a bench warrant for your arrest. So apparently, she couldn't call me on my phone because she didn't have a phone number, and for whatever reason, he entered my email address wrong. Now, mind you, I wrote my email address down for him, and I watched him take a picture of it. So if you're looking at the picture of the piece of paper where I wrote my email address down on, email address that I've had for 17 plus years, okay, why would you leave out a letter? So she had sent me an email telling me that my probation appointment was for the day before, Tuesday. So at this point, I am a failure to appear because I came on Wednesday and my appointment was Tuesday. But let me tell you how Yahuah is. If you show up the next day, a lot of times the probation officers will be cool with you. If I had allowed it to go until Friday, like I was originally off, I probably would have walked in there and had handcuffs put on me because I would have been in violation of my probation. The probation officer was very understanding because I was like, yeah, that's not my email address. He didn't put the J in there. That one little letter made it to where I never received anything from her. So she changed my appointment date to Wednesday in the system to where it didn't show up as me having a failure to appear. Then she put me on the mail-in. Now, I do have to, hear me out. The judge was handing out drug and alcohol assessments to everybody that was in there that day. So for whatever reason, even though it doesn't pertain to the charges against me, I have to do drug and alcohol assessment. I was not drinking that night. I was not on drugs, but literally she was handing that out to everybody that day. I have to pay for this myself. So this is the last step of it. And when I tell you it's, but because Abba Yahuah has literally just, been knocking it down. Every attempt of the enemy to throw me off, he's been knocking it down. I was praising Abba so hard yesterday because I can see it. And the first thing I asked was, what is it that's about to happen in my life that the enemy just is, he big mad. Like, he not even small mad. Like, he ginormous mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's really trying to stop something from happening. So I had asked that question. On the way back home yesterday, I'm on the phone with someone. And, oh yeah, let me back that up because I got to tell you this in order to tell you that part. So she's like, the probation officer's like, well, you need to get this drug and alcohol test done by the 2nd. And I said, well, ma'am, the 2nd is Shabbat, and I'm not doing anything on Shabbat. It's a holy day for me. So she goes, okay, well, they're usually not open on Sundays, and Monday's a holiday. And I remember going, Monday's a holiday? And I remember she looked at me crazy, but I looked at her like, what holiday is Monday? I kid you not. Listen, I kid you not. And this was another praise. So I said all that to say, so she was like, well, do it by the 5th. So I said all that to say, when I'm on the phone with the person, when I'm on my way back home, then we were talking, and I was telling them, you know, about everything that was going on, and they had mentioned that Monday was the 4th, and I said, ah, that's the holiday she was talking about. Y'all, listen, when I tell you these holidays, I don't be paying attention to them like that. Outside of the two that I told you, the one I had celebrated, I actually didn't celebrate Father's Day, but you remember in the other video, I told you that I had celebrated Mother's Day. Outside of that, I don't celebrate these holidays like that. So it was completely far removed from my mind that the Monday was the 4th of July. But it's very significant because it was at that moment that Ruach HaKodesh reminded me of something. It just so happens that the 4th of July in 2015 was the day that I entered into this 7 years of hell. Now, the last 2 years of the 7 years was literally Abba Yahuwah removed me from it. So it's technically 5 full years of going through this. And when I was going through this backslidden state, like, I felt so far removed from Abba Yahuwah. He gave me a glimpse of what it feels like to be separated from him. And if that 5 years is what it's like to be separated from him, I do not want to feel like that for eternity. I felt like when I prayed out to him, he didn't hear me. He wouldn't answer me. His back was turned to me, away from me. I don't know you. Like, I had no peace. I had no joy. I was very depressed. I was suicidal at points. Like, I was not in a good place, you guys, during those 5 years. I cried out to him, and I felt like he was just like, who are you? I'm like, why are you talking to me? You did that. Now go lie. You made the bed. Now go lie in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I felt. That's why when you guys see me on here and I be smiling and joking and whatnot, like, y'all have no idea. Like, I'm so grateful for the restoration that he has given to me. Like, you guys are looking at a resurrected being, and he didn't have to do it. So the fact that I'm sitting here telling you about how he's fighting for me and how he's been fighting for me, because let's understand that he's already done it ruachally. The physical is now not catching up. It'll never catch up. But the physical is now manifesting what he has already done ruachally, okay? So when you see me laughing and joking and I'm like, ha ha, and whatnot, because I fear my father, but I'm so grateful that I can't help but smile. I can't help but be joyful, because I know that he could have left me in that state. And I know for a fact I would have died in that state. So, said all that to say, it was the 4th of July of 2015 that I entered into it. And earlier this year, Ruach HaKodesh said, this is the 7th year. This is the year of completion. It'll be done and over with this year. But then he said to me, but it'll be on the 4th. Because it's going to be 7 years to the day. So that means Monday is the completion of that wilderness. Not saying there won't be another wilderness. Hopefully it won't be, because I did something and entered into that wilderness. Hopefully it'll be a righteous wilderness. But Monday is literally the completion of that to the day. So that's when it was like, that's what the enemy is doing. The enemy is trying to get me messed up in the game before Monday comes. But here's the thing. That's the physical Monday is literally the physical manifestation of what Abba Yahuwah has already done. So he can't stop what's already been done ruachally. It's already been done ruachally. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you guys this because I want y'all to understand, like, it's not just like that in my life. It's like that in your life. It's already been done. Tetelestai. It is finished. It's been done. And let me pause. I have been guilty of this too, but I'm going to let you know. When we say, oh yeah, Yahusha took care of that 2,000 years ago. The enemy's been defeated. Or the enemy was defeated 2,000 years ago. That's false. The enemy was defeated before Abba Yahuwah said, let there be light. Because in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with Yahuwah. And the Word was Yahuwah. Okay? Yahusha is the Word of Yahuwah. Okay? Yahusha was there. He been here. He been here, you guys. He didn't show up on the scene 2,000 years ago. So the enemy been defeated, okay? This life that we're carrying out, everything in the old covenant that we read about, and everything in the new covenant that we read about, and the things that are currently taking place in our lives and our children's lives and whatnot, enemy been defeated. Okay? This is all just a physical manifestation of what's already been done. Since been, okay? Last thing I'm gonna say is a few days ago I had a dream, and Ruach HaKodesh gave me the revelation for that dream. And in the dream, I remember I was going to a wedding, and some of my family members were there, but then next thing I know, I'm sitting in this section, and I'm being surrounded by all of these people that I went to high school with. And while I'm sitting there talking to them, they keep saying, like, they lived at this address. Now, the address was the address that I lived at in high school, and, you know, shortly after I graduated from high school, it's the address that I lived at. And they keep saying, yo, I lived at such and such and such and such. And I'm looking at them like, you ain't lived there, I lived there. What you talking about? But it was towards the end of my high school career, and after I had graduated, that I began to practice witchcraft and dabble in Satanism. So that's very significant. Hold on to that. Then in the rest of, like, slowly but surely, these people that were familiar to me, they started to disappear. And now I'm sitting at the front of this church with a bunch of older white women. I'm just telling you how the dream was, so don't think, like, I ain't got no problem with white folks, okay? But this is what was in the dreams. I can't lie to you, and I'm not going to. And we're all singing, and I just start belting out Yahuah, and they start turning around and looking at me, and they get angry. Now, I don't remember the rest of the dream. That's just the part that Ruach HaKodesh has allowed me to remember, but he gave me the revelation for it. He told me, like, first and foremost, we all know what the wedding is representing, so we just gonna bypass all that. But he said the reason why the people that were in the section where I was were people that I went to high school with was because they were familiar spirits. It was a demonic presence. And the reason why they kept saying that they dwelled at the same residence that I dwelled at is because it was demonic covenants that I had came into around that time. I had personally entered into demonic covenants around that time. And they started disappearing because Abba Yahuwah was showing me I have ended those covenants. I have ended those covenants. And then I was standing at the front of that church, and, well, the front of that building, because, you know, we are the called out assembly. We are the set apart assembly. So I'm not even going to call the building a church, because that's false. But the reason why they were looking at me angry when I started saying Yahuwah is because I was standing in the midst of the false church, the false assembly. Okay? And this is what he was telling me. He was showing me how he has set me free. Has set me free, okay? So then everything just kind of made sense. The dream, what Ruach HaKodesh said to me earlier, and then everything that happened on yesterday, everything is making sense. On Monday, and please understand, I don't celebrate Babylonian feast days, so I have nothing to do with 4th of July. It just so happens to be that that's the day that I entered into that wilderness. And on that day in 2015, I was not celebrating the 4th of July that day either. I had gone to pick my best friend up from a whole different state. I had drove 9.5 hours because she was going through some stuff, and and we were on our way back on that day. So that's the reason why that's the day. But I said all that to say the enemy did not want it to manifest physically for me. But he can't stop it because it's already happened ruachally. So I want y'all to understand, this is why I'm so like, ha! You know what I'm saying? And please understand, I don't care if somebody says, oh, she don't seem like somebody that's afraid of Abba Yahuwah. You know what? I don't care how it seems to you, because understand, I fall on my face and I fear my Father. But I'm finna scream from the rooftops, Yahusha! Yahuwah! You know why? Because I know what I I have been through. I know where I could be right now, and I know where I'm not. Point blank, period. I'm telling you guys this. I'm chronicling my own personal journey and life and whatnot because I want y'all to understand who it is that I want y'all to know who Yahuah is. Yahushua HaMashiach. Like I said, I'm going to point you to him. Now, whether you enter into that covenant with him, that's between you and him. But I'm going to tell you about him. And understand, yes, I got stuff coming up against me. But when you are truly walking with him, you can have joy. You know, oh, last thing. Because I said joy, and joy is a fruit of Ruach HaKodesh. I was talking to my mom on Tuesday, the day I was supposed to be there. I was at work, at my job. I can put my Bluetooth in and talk to people because I can still do my job at the time. And as long as we get our job done, our manager doesn't care. So I was talking to my mom, and she had mentioned Adam and Eve, and she said that they ate of the apple. And Ruach HaKodesh corrected her through me, and I said fruit. And he had already, like right then in that conversation, he gave me the revelation, and I spoke it to her that the reason why it's important that we stop calling it an apple, because first and foremost, the word of Yahuah does not say it was an apple, it says it was a fruit, is because it's very ruachal. It's literally, they ate of the fruit of sin. We know that there's unrighteous fruit and then there's righteous fruit. We know that the righteous fruit is the fruit of Ruach HaKodesh. It's 9 fruit. The reason why you need to start recognizing it as just fruit is because it's more than one fruit. It's more than one fruit. It's the fruit of sin. It's more than one fruit. I just said that, like I said, I said joy, and I said I have joy. I never had true joy back when I was walking in the false light. And I know some of you watching this are going to be mad, but I mean, the truth hurts, and that's why that's how it sets you free, because it's got to cut you. So you could be like, ooh, that hurt. Why did it hurt? And now you could be set free. You know what I'm saying? So the truth of the matter is, when I was a very devout Christian, and when I say devout, I mean I was in all the ministries. I was on the praise and worship team. I was in the choir. Like, I volunteered for everything. I was at every Bible study, every service. Like, I was like super Christian. Okay. And anybody that is watching this and knows me can testify to that. I was super Christian. You know what I'm saying? But I still had all these covenants that I was unaware of. Hence the fact that I had a child out of wedlock, because I wasn't truly free. I was under a delusion. You remember the church of Sardis in Revelation chapter 3. You have a reputation for being alive when in fact you are dead. I had a reputation for being alive when in fact I was dead. I mean, sure, on the surface it looked like I was, holier than thou, but obviously because I was tempted into fornication and had a child out of wedlock, obviously there were some covenants that weren't broken. And I'm telling you guys this because it's very important that you submit yourself to Abba Yahuah and see what's buried deep down inside of you, and ask him to show you these covenants that you're still in agreement with, because if you're not, you will never truly be set free. Okay? You will never truly be set free, and the enemy is going to keep playing on the fact that you are unaware of these things and keep sending things towards you and keep pounding on you and pounding on you. And Abba Yahuah is going to allow him to do it because he wants you to seek him out and figure out why the enemy is appearing to defeat you. Because some of y'all probably feel defeated right now because y'all done, how much longer do I have to, until you fall on your face? That's how much longer, until you fall on your face. And even then, you'll still go through some stuff, but it won't be you won't succumb to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that. Hopefully that'll give you guys some type of hope. Fall on your face. All right, let me go into this job. I love you guys. I pray that you have much shalom and ahav today. And until next time, shalom aleichem.